Joining me now is Paul Bonicelli. He's a former State Department official and foreign policy advisor to President George W. Bush, also director of programs and education for the Action Institute. And Robin Simcox, he's a terror and national security analyst at the Heritage Foundation's Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you. Great to be with you.
Well, in Connor Powell's report just there, you heard us discussing more than 30 countries impacted by this terror attack and the importance of a global effort to get behind stopping it. So, Paul, what do we need to do?
Well, we need to do what we're not doing, and Theresa May is right. The problem is Europe doesn't do that, and that is to treat this as a generational war internal to our societies. Our people who hate our freedom, they hate that we live differently than they do. They take advantage of our freedom, they take advantage of the way we live, and so they go to the lowest level of societal life, which is people walking around in public places, and they stab and they shoot and they drive cars into them. The only way to deal with that is human intelligence. The only way to deal with that is to find out on the ground the way the Israelis do this and live with it as something that is the cost of the free lives that we want to live, but it's a cost worth bearing because we don't want to change who we are.
Yeah, Robin, at this point, this appears to be what I would say a fairly large cell. We have 5 of the suspects dead. We have another 4 currently under arrest, or being held, I should say, and then 1 more, assumedly the driver of the car, still on the loose and still being searched for. Why Spain? Is there a specific reason that you believe they were perhaps targeted this time?
Well, Spain's been attacked before. I remember in Madrid in March 2004, actually the most deadly Islamist terrorist attack in Europe ever was in Madrid, in the train bombings there. I think you have to say that it's not any more. The reason it's Spain is no more than the reason it's France before that, or the UK, or Germany, or Belgium, or any of the plethora of European countries that have been targeted in recent years. It's because, as Paul was previously referring to, there is this Islamist ideology that looks to impose itself upon Europe, and that means that essentially any country is one that they would be willing to target.
We're taking a look at live pictures there from the scene of the attack, where people are gathered around a makeshift memorial. This scene becoming all too familiar as these terror attacks continue to spread across the globe. Paul, as we concentrate on limiting the caliphate, or actually destroying the caliphate of ISIS in Syria, does that mean that there will be an increase in attacks like this?
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that Europeans should have been ready for, and I trust our government is ready for, is as ISIS loses the caliphate, as it loses territory, it has to continue to have reasons to inspire people to join it. And one of the ways you do that is to take these losers of society, these disconnected people, recruit them, inspire them, and then send them out to do these acts as they do. And so we should have been ready for that in Europe. I hope they are getting more ready for it, because it will continue. ISIS will not go away because we take the caliphate away from them. They didn't have a caliphate before they were doing these things.
And then, Robin, finally, you agree that the European governments need to take more of a aggressive approach?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think enough European governments have taken this issue as seriously as it needs to be, but ultimately also it's a problem of scale. I mean, even a country like the UK, which does take this threat very seriously and has suffered from terrorism in the past, it's got 23,000 terror suspects on the radar. As a country, we're just not able to monitor that amount of people. That means further attacks will take place.
Yeah, and then how you monitor the internet, finally, Paul, is no one's come up with an answer for that yet.
Yes. No, that's exactly right. And Robin's right. We keep hearing that people that are being caught now were already on the radar screen. And so it begs the question, what were you doing about that? There's going to have to be a further crackdown, greater suspicion, mosques that support these things, and with the internet. I mean, the internet is an important element of free society, but there must be some ways to find people that are plotting, because they're already breaking the law if they're conspiring.
Yeah. All right. Thank you both for joining us, Paul and Robin. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.